I'm nearing the end of my diet for my first Classic Physique bodybuilding show, and it really hasn't been that bad. So I want to share with you a lot of the things that I've been doing to help you in your weight loss journey, whether that's just losing weight or if you're trying to get into your first bodybuilding show. And these things are really going to help you to take off that weight without really suffering like crazy. So with losing body fat, it all comes down to your calorie deficit and how you make that deficit happen. And now I want to clarify that we are not just talking about losing weight here. We want to lose fat, because if you're losing weight, especially if it's for a bodybuilding show, you want to maintain as much of your muscle as possible. So the most important thing to start off with is to have realistic expectations and don't go into too steep of a deficit. It's really tempting once you start dropping that weight, especially in the first 2 weeks. It doesn't seem that hard. The scale moves a lot because you're losing water weight, you're losing glycogen and fat, but you see a whole lot of big changes. Then it stabilizes and starts going a lot slower. And it can be really tempting and addicting to see that scale drop, and that's all you care about is seeing the weight drop. But we don't want to lose weight, because what happens if you lose too fast is you're going to lose muscle along with that weight. And if you lose muscle and fat, well, your body composition really isn't going to look much different. You'll most likely lose more fat than muscle, but that composition change is gonna be a lot slower and you're gonna get weaker, and that's just really demotivating, especially when you're in the gym and you continually get weaker. And when determining your calorie deficit, you need to think, okay, how much weight do I need to lose and how much time do I have? And this is where it really helps to stay not really lean year round, but at a healthy body weight, somewhere around 13 to 17%, we can call it 15%, that's a pretty easy one. But taking me, for example, right now, I started out 8 weeks ago, nearly 185 pounds, and now, hopefully tomorrow, starting my peak week, I'm hoping to hit 176, that was my goal, hopefully somewhere close to that. And I'm guessing my body fat percentage is somewhere around 7% right now, so if you do the math on that, that gives me about 12.5 pounds of body fat on me right now. Now if we take that up and bump it up to 185 and say all the rest of that is fat that I've lost over this last 7 to 8 weeks, well, that means I was sitting around 12 to 13%, and so really 8 pounds over 8 weeks really isn't that big a deal. You're just losing a pound a week. However, I will say that the closer you get to being really lean, each of those pounds gets a lot harder to take off. And we'll touch on that in a little bit and how to make that even easier and how to make changes to make that happen. And when it comes to choosing your foods, you want to make sure you're getting enough protein. I always say shoot for a gram of protein per pound of body weight. You don't really need to go above that. I have been lately because it's more satiating because I can have a larger amount of food. But when you're building muscle, you don't necessarily need that much. That's just for optimizing your muscle building. But when you're in a cut, and especially getting really lean, you want to make sure you have enough protein so that you're sustaining and maintaining the muscle that you already have while you're cutting down, and also still working out hard in the gym, because you need to give a reason for your body to hold on to that muscle. Just like you're giving it a stimulus to grow, you're giving it a stimulus to stay in this case. And what I recommend is shooting for a 500 calorie per day deficit, which is gonna result in 1 pound of weight loss per week. And it's pretty easy to do, especially depending on what your diet is. You can just be substituting some things out. I have lots of videos on the channel I'll link for you with making substitutions for all kinds of things like pizzas, oatmeal, a typical American breakfast I've gone through and cut out 250 calories just out of that while having the same amount of food. So there are lots of ways, and I have lots of recipes on the channel that'll help you with that. And as you're doing this, you want to weigh yourself every day. Now you don't necessarily need to track it every day, but what I do is typically keep track on my phone every week for my own check-in and put my weight in. But as I go throughout the week, I can see, okay, my weight's trending down, and you might eat something that has more sodium or a little bit larger meal, or you might get bloated or hold more water, and then all of a sudden your weight's the same or higher when you're at your check-in that you log. But okay, my weight has been trending down. Once this works its way through my system, I'm gonna be good to go. And that's why it's really important to weigh yourself every day, so you can see that trend consistently, instead of getting to the end of the week, weighing yourself for the first time thinking, yeah, I did good this week, and then see your weight's the same or went up some, and then you get really demotivated and do something crazy like going on full day fasts and starving yourself, losing muscle, and it's just not a good thing to get into. Stick with your plan until it stops working for sure, and weighing yourself every day helps figure out if that's gonna happen. And so the way I did my diet was the first 4 weeks, I just put in that 500 calorie per day deficit. I was eating around 3,000 calories a day to maintain my physique at around 185 pounds, which I'd been doing for about a year, and kind of doing a recomp from when I bulked the previous year up to 190, and I was just hanging out around 185 to 187, and it was pretty easy. I tracked my protein every day, no big deal. I worked out hard all the time. I was getting stronger. I did cardio consistently year round. It's not something I just added in. So really I changed nothing except tracking my actual calorie intake instead of just how much protein I was getting per day. And I started with 2,500, started losing a pound a week. It was no big deal. I was eating plenty of food and felt fine. But after those first 4 weeks, when we got into the beginning of May and I was getting a lot leaner, I started feeling more hungry, and I was switching to more and more lower calorie, dense foods so that I could feel more full. And especially right now, even eating things like 4 pieces of French toast for breakfast and all kinds of various recipes I have on the channel. I'm really hungry, I eat it, and I feel like, okay, food's in my stomach, I'm good, but within like 10 minutes, I'm already hungry again. And that's what's gonna happen once you get to a certain leanness, because your body doesn't wanna be like that, and it's gonna be fighting back and wanting you to eat more. So you have to be aware that it's gonna get harder as you get closer to that stage goal. And if you're just dieting to get leaner and you're feeling like this, that is a good sign that that is too lean for you, and you need to stop and not try to get leaner, because just being shredded for the sake of it, there's no point. I'm just doing this as a challenge because I've never done a bodybuilding show before. Perfectly happy with how I was at 185, plenty of energy, didn't really have to track much. I just made sure I got enough protein. I was getting consistent progress in the gym, getting stronger. And when I got to that second 4 weeks, I noticed that my weight loss was starting to go slow. And so what do you have to do? You either have to move more or eat less. So in my case, I decided to start moving more. So I was already doing my normal cardio. I typically work out doing legs, push, pull, 3-day split. The 4th day I would swim for an hour at the YMCA and close to 2 miles in that 1 hour that I swam. So I'm already burning a lot of calories from that. And so what I did after that was decided I'm gonna start walking every day. And I started walking a few miles. Takes a little under an hour depending on your pace just to go walk. Simple, easy to do, and at my body weight, that's burning around 360 calories. So then the weight loss started to pick up again. No big deal, just go for a walk with my wife, the kids, or by myself, listen to podcasts, talk to people on the phone. Really no big deal. Although I was starting to feel more hungry more often, I just had to get used to the fact that I'm gonna be hungrier between meals. Just gotta deal with it, that's how this goes. Drink a lot of water, try to trick your body into feeling like there's something in your stomach. And this is the point where a lot of people diet really far and think, oh, I killed my metabolism slowed down. I was eating 3,000 calories a day and losing weight on 2,500, and now that's not even working. But we have to realize is it's not necessarily that your metabolism's slowing down. If I start out at 185 and I'm eating 2,500 calories, losing weight, and I lose 5% of my body mass, well, just think of it in terms of energy, okay? There's less mass, so now I need less energy to fuel that mass. So instead of 2,500 being that calorie deficit I need, well, let's take 5% off that. That's another, what, 125 calories. So your calorie amount that your body actually needs has dropped. So you could say your metabolism slowed, but it's just a simple fact is if you lose weight, you don't need as much food. If you gain weight, you're gonna need more food to sustain that. And so as you diet, every 10 pounds or so, you're probably gonna have to cut your calories back more if you wanna keep losing weight. And that's just how it goes. So I added walking, and then over the last few weeks especially, I've really had to pay attention to meal timing. Not to make sure I'm in some kind of special ketosis, because I'm not doing keto or fasting or any of that, and having special fat burning windows. More so, I wanted to make sure I had enough energy when I train. So when I'm eating that 2,300 calories now at this point, a couple weeks out, I'm making sure, okay, I wanna eat like 700 to 900 calorie meal before I train so that I have enough energy. I eat it, I feel energized, have my pre-workout, I'm good to go. And then I train hard and have a good session and don't feel totally drained. And then I'd have snacks throughout the day. And then I wanted to make sure I also ate like a 500 to 600 calorie meal pretty close to bedtime, because I typically wake up every night and have to pee, and then I get back in bed, and if I get back in bed and my stomach is just in knots and growling because I'm really hungry, it's gonna be hard to fall back asleep. And if you're not sleeping, it's even harder to keep yourself from eating, especially if you're hungry in the middle of the night. So for me, I wanna make sure I got a good meal in before bed, some slower digesting proteins. I'd have cottage cheese and applesauce a lot, which I've had that. In my snack videos, I'll put here somewhere. It sounds kind of weird, but it's actually pretty good. And I sleep fine through the night. I go to the bathroom, get back in bed, fall asleep, wake up at a normal time, no problem. But if I was to stop eating, like if you were doing fasting, I stop eating at say 6 or 7 at night, and then I'm already really hungry because of this deficit, go to bed hungry, wake up, stomach's just growling, it's not a good feeling. So sleep is one of the most important things for you right now, because that's when your body's repairing itself from your gym sessions, and also that's when your body's burning a lot of fat. It's burning through the food, it's repairing, so you don't want to mess up your sleep. And something that really helps to stay motivated, aside from seeing the scale drop, is to take some pictures or some video of yourself once a month, depending on how long you're doing your diet, so that you can see those changes happening. Because on a day-to-day basis, you don't really notice a whole lot, but then you look at one picture and the next one and you think, oh wow, okay, I did lose weight. I did that just between 2 weeks when I lost about 2.5 pounds. And you know, that's about a 1.5% body fat change. And I noticed a big difference in my waist when I was doing some of my back poses. And then you get in your mind, okay, this is working. I'm gonna keep going. I can make it through this. And you just gotta push through, gotta get through those weird times of like going out with people and being like, oh, sorry, I have my meal that I'm gonna eat here instead, because I was eating at restaurants those first 4 weeks. We'd go to Chick-fil-A, other fast food places, whatever, and I would pick the low calorie things like I show in my videos. But once you get to a certain point, I want as much volume of food as possible, rather than just getting a lower calorie option somewhere else, because I can eat that, but I'm gonna feel hungry a lot quicker. So after those first 4 weeks, when I started getting into the harder part, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna not eat out. I'll bring a protein bar to snack on and get a diet soda or something while I'm there with people, and then eat my normal meal when I get home. Or we went to someone's house before and I brought my own food. I'm like, sorry, nothing wrong with your food. I just gotta stick to this because I am hungry and need a lot of food that's not high in calories. And the last thing I'd leave you with is try to really monitor the way you're acting, because it can be really easy to start focusing just on food and dreaming about what kind of foods you're gonna have when your diet's over and all these weird things that come in your mind. But more so than that, it can be really easy to start getting irritable and not being a fun person to be around. And if you're trying to lose weight just for your health benefits, and you're messing up your life and your relationships in the process, then maybe it's time to take a break, slow it down, eat at maintenance for a while, bump your calories back up so that you're not losing weight, you're maintaining. You got plenty of time. You don't have to lose the weight right now. If you have a show, that's a different thing, push through, but try to monitor yourself and think, am I being a jerk to people? Because if you are, change your attitude. Realize you're hungry, you gotta deal with it. It's your choice. You're doing this to yourself. It's no one else's fault. So if it's messing up your life, make some changes. Stop or change your attitude and be fun to be around. But that's how I've been getting through my diet. I'm starting peak week tomorrow, and I'm gonna make videos each day on that, in depth on what I'm eating, the reason why I'm eating it, the calorie amounts, carbs, proteins, fats, all those good things that are gonna help you in the process if you're doing something similar. And I'm gonna be tracking just about everything I'm doing with this show. Looking forward to it. At Camber Fitness Instagram, I'm posting stuff there about it as well. Hit a like if this button was helpful. Leave comments down below if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next one.